Okay, welcome back. And gone through the first turn. Got the German Italian forces on the board. You can see they've just advanced very slowly. The trucks moving slowly off-road, while the tanks moving fairly quickly on the road, as well as the motorcycles over here, artillery, and our German scout car, armored car up there. Fairly uneventful. As I said, they just got on the board. The one attack that occurred was spotting leader over here, directed mortars from back here to hit these motorcycles, and you can see they were disrupted. The Italian morale, unfortunately, has been the downfall with the prior scenarios. Looks like it's still hurting them over here as well. So you can see a little bit of action here. The Italians were on the board, moving up. Germans moving up here on the road to try to get position and start some sort of attack and hit against them. From the British perspective, kind of sat tight. As we said, they bombarded. Got some good results for them to slow them down. The other thing is, now seeing the attack develop, they shifted the Bren carriers from the southern side of the board up to the northern side in case reinforcements need to come from this angle up here. It looks like the attack is developing to the south, so that any type of action is going to be more down here, not up there. But the German tanks are highly mobile. They can swing around that way, so they're not convinced 100% yet that that's going to be the case. But that's the way it's looking for now. So that's the end of first turn. That's the 1 p.m. turn. So I'm going to get on with the 1:15 and maybe even the 1:30 and see where we're at, and then probably start playing the turns with you as well. So talk with you soon. Okay, we're at the end of our 13:15 or 1:15 turn. As we can see, our German forces have moved up a little bit. Our motorcycle units that were disrupted by the mortars back there slowly recovered, but now you see the German armor has moved up onto the hill, and they were actually hit by bombardment fire back here from these two 25-pounder units back here, and actually scored a X, which is a morale check for the units. One passed, one failed. So one of the Panzer 4Es was disrupted. It's going to be a little bit of a pain for them to recover. So they're starting to get a little bit of fire, which is starting to break up their formation here a little bit by some good accuracy from the British artillery on there. On the German side, though, our scout car up here had driven back the leader, actually wounded him because he was a character leader. He got wounded, and it's out of the scenario for now. He will be returning. That was Lieutenant White, who was wounded. He will be returning next scenario. We'll lose a little bit of morale, leadership points, but he was able to scamper away, and we'll be back later. But that eliminates his outpost up here, which they've been using to try to get some artillery onto the Italian infantry back here. So the advance is going slow. They've come over the first rise here. British fire has kind of breaking up, or just kind of harassing the German advance. The Italians have not crested the hill yet. Kind of waiting on that. We're going to kind of figure out how to do that next turn. Whether they'll come over individually or in the trucks is the question. And to face the onslaught of the 25-pounders and the mortars back here. In a little bit of preparation, the British also started to think about shifting units from the north to the south, seeing the attack developing here in the south. The half-tracks, Brens, have started to move a lieutenant and another platoon south. This one's positioned here to potentially grab another unit if need be. Don't want to get rid of them too much from up there, but definitely try to reinforce down south here because that's where the main attack is coming. So that's about it for turn 2, the 115 turn. So we'll move on to the 130 turn and be back from there. Okay, up to the 130 turn, and a little bit of an advance here by the Germans. While I take off these counters here. They've moved up the armor a little bit, but of course they wanted to try to get this guy back in good shape, which they succeeded. But in the process of moving up, these Panzer IIIs got hit by our 25 pounders over here, which seem to have been bore-sighted on both of these hexes because the second unit got disrupted down here again. They rolled a 12, and then ultimately the second unit failed their morale check. So we've got another disrupted down here. So the armor attack has been slowed a little bit by this harassing artillery by the British. Now on the other side, this turn kind of was this last turn was kind of a slow one, mainly because the infantry for the Italians basically just unloaded. Thought about it a little bit. They're going to have to cross over here. Trucks are not good going over the hills. Infantry can cross over pretty much without much impediment. So they jumped off. And then also, too, of course, our artillery and mortars can fire up here as well based upon spotting units. So infantry might be a little bit more resilient than the trucks to that fire as they move across there. And then hopefully they can get across, start attacking here, pinning down some of these units, maybe going after these 25 pounders because they're really a headache, and getting the attack firmed up so they can move off the side. One of the other big things here logistically is they've unloaded and unlimbered their 105s and 75s that are over here. So this is going to give them a 22 factor on the bombardment that they can now start hitting the mortars and the 25 pounders back over here, as well as some of these others in the dug-in spots, and hopefully start softening up the attack and to break up some of this harassing fire that's coming in there. So we've been through 2 turns so far on the board here, and then moving up. This turn they've unloaded and unlimbered. The tanks have moved up, kind of trying to keep their formation together here as much as possible. Again, harassing fire is causing problems. The British, now seeing the attack down to the south, shifting some of these northern troops down here. This time they're moving down the machine guns up here at the top, feeling it'd be better, provide more machine gun fire down here to slow up the infantry. As well as they may start moving down another infantry unit up here when needed. I don't want to strip this completely, but as it looks more and more like this is going to be the attack down here, we're going to move these folks south. This group right here, staying put, obviously they'll provide fire against them going south. Hopefully we can form up a stronger line down here to the south to prevent the ultimate exiting the board off to the east. So that's it for the 130 turn. We'll move on to the 145 or 1345 turn. Again, see if we get closer here, and I will again start playing through full turns once we get a little bit more action action going here. Probably at the 2 o'clock turn, that'll be the start of our full turn. So we'll be back with you. Okay, we have the end of our 145 or 1345 turn, and starting to get interesting. And as I said, I will start playing through some of these turns now. German advance, German Italian advance. Tanks moved up, again pushing forward here. Kind of a reply with reinforcements from the British from the north, flowing down south. You can see a lieutenant and a platoon are already in place. Hopefully they can get set up before the tanks arrive en masse. The harassing fire with the tanks, they've been all cleared up, kind of back in their formation, although they're a little bit strung out still. That harassing fire by the mortars and the 25-pounders is still extremely accurate, and I'll point out why here in a moment. In one case, the mortars hit the Capitano here, this very good Capitano. He survived okay, but his platoon disrupted. That was by the mortars over here. Now, once he got in position over here, the artillery over here for the Italians could come into play. And they fired back over, going after these 25-pounders. They didn't actually hit the 25-pounders, but the lieutenant colonel in here was disrupted, which kind of put a little bit of a hindrance on the, or what I thought would be the fire from the 25-pounders, because he could not coordinate the fire anymore. He did recover, but the individual units firing scored some impressive results on their own. The one firing from here fired at the Mageria. I'm probably massacring that name, but I will work that out later. Hitting them, disrupting one unit, but more importantly, demoralizing that major. He is the key leadership for the infantry coming up here. So now it's going to be tough to coordinate all of these guys to get moving while he's demoralized. So he's going to have to recover, and that's going to at least take 2 turns to do that. And then the second gun, firing individually, hit the motorcycles up here who had just crested the hill and now become visible for fire over there. Hit them, disrupted them. The one that was disrupted, our Tenente over there, was able to successfully get him recovered and earned him another leadership point in the same action. The Italian mortars took a pop at the mortars for the British with no results, and the trucks kind of holding back here until, like I said, the line gets moving forward. So now it's getting a little interesting, as I said. British trying to reinforce, forces coming together. So I'm just going to take a second here and do a little bit more tidying up to you folks. It's going to be instantaneous, and come back, and we will continue with the playthrough with a live turn.